5, folks, starting now. Listen, I really haven't shown the Seattle Seahawks enough love over the past few weeks. It just looks like they're just getting, even though you say, well, they're playing against Arizona and see New Orleans. I mean, they're blowing out the bad teams. And listen, we're going to find out a lot this weekend. I think they play the 49ers. Got 49ers coming up this weekend. That'll be one of the 5 biggest games coming up this weekend. And anywho, all right, now, so Seattle, I got them at number 5. They're the number 3 team in points per game. They're 5th points per game scored. They're 5th in points allowed. So balance on both sides of the ball. Young defense, like I said, seem to be coming together into its own as we speak. Sam Darnold, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. By the way, Jackson Smith-Njigba playing at a high level. Maybe the best receiver in the league for this particular year. A.J. Brown would love to have stats like this. Smith-Njigba, 68 catches. This guy's already got 1,041 yards there for Jackson Smith-Njigba there. Adding speed element. And I mentioned this last week at the trade deadline. Rashid Shaheed there from New Orleans at the trade deadline. So I've got Seattle, folks, as the number 5 team in my NFL Power 5. Number 4, Indianapolis. Would have them a little higher, but, DeForest Buckner is on he's on IR, so he's going to be out a minimum of about 4 weeks. So he'll miss the next 4 games. Still best in yards and scoring per game offensively, with Buckner back with Sauce Gardner settled in at corner. It's going to take a few weeks here, folks, for Sauce Gardner to settle in to the defensive coordinator Lou Amorano's system here. But I tell you what, this team really, they are primed and ready to go. But even with Daniel Jones, they're primed and ready to go for a lone playoff run. I think they'll win this division. They keep creeping up in my NFL Power 5. So they're number 4. Now, Jones has had his turnovers lately. I understand that, but they did go overseas, and they did beat Atlanta. I think they got this week off. Did beat Atlanta. They're going to be a tough team to beat down the stretch. Now, they're beatable, of course, because we think Daniel Jones could go back to being Daniel Jones. He'd look like the old Daniel Jones against the Steelers there. I get it. But for the most part, the guy's having a comeback type of year. He's playing great. So I've got them at number 4, my NFL Power 5. Like I said, number 5, Seattle. Number 4, Indianapolis. So New England, listen, that was the most impressive win of the week. Going down there to Tampa like that. Mind you, folks, Tampa coming off a bye week, playing at a really high level before that bye week, winning on the road, winning with multiple injuries, offensive line injuries, 2 receivers down, 3 receivers down. And the defense solid. Baker Mayfield, for a few weeks, they're playing at an MVP level. And New England, playing some tough games, had not had their bye week yet, goes down there and just flat out, Drake May played well. Mike Vrabel out coaching Todd Bowles there and beating a first place team like Tampa. They beat a first place Buffalo at the time there. Now they're in first place. And they're the number 2 overall seed in the AFC here. They just don't make a lot of mistakes. They're very physical. And Drake May, he's playing at a very high level. With subpar skill players, if you really think about it, the fact that he didn't even have, what's his name, Keyshawn Boot there, he was not there. And, of course, you're playing with the Stephon Diggs. It was past his prime there. Love that cornerback they've got there, and Gonzalez. So New England at number 3. Um, and like I said, I mentioned, I made a note about Mike Vrabel. Excellent coaching job. Maybe with Kyle Shanahan up there with another, yes, folks, with another coach of the year. He won coach of the year with the Tennessee Titans. He very well may win coach of the year with the New England Patriots. I've got them as my number 3 team in the NFL Power 5. So, and just a side note about that particular game, I love the fact that there's like a minute 41 seconds left in the first half. Patriots got the ball; they're inside the 5-yard line. Tampa's used all their timeouts; they're already inside the 2-minute warning, and without scoring, they do just a basically almost like a knee, like a fall forward type of play, and let the clock run all the way out. And I think it's like 3rd or 4th down. May throws. This is very risky, but May throws a touchdown there at the very end, last play of the second half or first half. I thought that was really, really good clock management skills there by Mike Vrabel. Of course, they got the ball back in the second half. I mean, he's got this team clicking on all 8 right now. So they're number 3 in my NFL Power 5. Had to add that little nuance to it as well. Okay. Now the Rams look that much sharper, folks. Matt Stafford, 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mentioned Drake May, an outside, a potential MVP candidate. I mentioned before that, going back a few weeks, Baker Mayfield with all their injuries, the last-minute wins and all that, potential MVP candidate. Now the leader in the clubhouse at this point. We're right at midway through the season here. I mean, Matt Stafford, man, have I overlooked this guy. 25 touchdowns here. 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Depending on how they finish, they do have some older players. I mean, definitely an MVP right there. Second in points allowed. 4th in plus minus turnover. I mean, they just, other words, they win the turnover battle. The 4th best team in the NFL that wins the turnover battle. Puka Nacua is back. They have balance. They have experience. I could definitely see this team going on a Super Bowl run. They were in the divisional game last year. Come down to about a 1 throw. Puka catches that ball. Possibly they're going in to win this game and perhaps on their way to the Super Bowl. I'm sure they would have beat that. They would have beat that Commanders team last year. So Rams number 2, number 1 Philadelphia this week in the Power 5. Listen, great win at Green Bay. I mentioned Jalen Phillips in the trade deadline last week. Actually got a sack this past week. You saw him in the backfield. Great move. Another great move by Howie Roseman. I know that was a tough win. I knew Green Bay was going to show up to play. I was impressed with the win. And, of course, another big win. That was a divisional leader. Also, this team has beaten. They have beaten, although I think they can. If they play one more time, I do think it'll go the other way. They did beat the Rams, a top-notch team. They have beat the Green Bay Packers. They were in first place here. So, and now they got Detroit this week. Now I don't know how they're going to play because they've got possibly Lane Johnson, right tackle there for the Eagles, maybe out. But that being said, they really don't have a weakness here. There's some inconsistencies in the running game here. Strong receiving core, strong secondary. Even added a running back there. Tank, was it Bigsby? The player they picked up there had made a few plays himself. Speedy player out of Jacksonville. Really like what they're doing. They're number 1 in my Power 5. Philadelphia number 1. Rams number 2. And of course, number three is the New England Patriots. Number four, make sure I get this right here. I've got so many notes here. Let's see, Indianapolis, and of course, number five, Seattle.